So guess what? God is one of us. Yes, God is all of us. God is the very essence and nature and energy and presence that is expressing in, through, and as each and every one of us. So when we remember that, not only do we remember the truth of who we are, we can remember to see that light and that love in each person we meet, in each person we encounter. It is up to us to choose to see Spirit, life, the beloved in all that we meet. So today, we continue with our year-long theme as we're bringing to close this calendar year. We've been exploring living everyday wonder. And each month we have a different aspect of life that we get to look at. So this month of December, we are looking at community and how we gather as a way of experiencing wonder and curiosity and belonging. So what is community? It's that invisible structure that we all live inside when we gather. It's like an agreed upon playground where we come together, often based on similar interests or ideas or identities. And it's where we get to see how our individual choices not only influence and affect our own lives, but the collective. Knowing that our individual expression is not only about us, but it has an impact on those around us. There's a beautiful alchemy of community that unfolds when we come into the realization that through our own spheres of influence, those areas of our lives, be it our families, our friends, our spiritual community, our workplace, our chosen communities, that those are our sphere of influence. Those are our place, the point at which we have power and choice on how we show up and how we influence a space. And it's not just if you are a designated leader in that space. Each of us show up in community, and our energy, our vibration, our love, our words, our actions, our deeds, all of that impacts the experience of the whole. So when we wake up to the realization that we are always at choice and not a victim to circumstance or anything outside of us, we begin to make choices on how we desire to be in community. We wake up to the fact that we get to choose how we be when we gather. So how we choose to show up and what communities we choose to engage in is something that we can become more conscious of as we continue our journey of self-discovery and awakening. And it comes as a beautiful gift as well of getting to experience the diversity and the uniqueness of each of us individuals coming together, commingling in this thing called community, each sharing our light as a part of the whole. So this is also the time of year that is known as the season of light, where folks from various traditions and faith practices gather together to recognize the light within and the light all around us. And it is often in the physical absence of light this time of year, with the shorter amount of daylight we get, that we begin to be more aware and appreciate light and the various aspects of light within our own lives. Because Truly, we are light. And in such, we each have our unique gifts and ways that we express and show up in this world, and ways that we can choose to shine our light or withhold or hide our light. It is up to us if we are in a space where we can show up fully expressing who we are. But it takes vulnerability, right? We talked a good bit about that last week. Being seen and being acknowledged for the truth and the love and the light that we are takes a willingness to be seen and to be vulnerable enough to share our light. So this month we get to celebrate the full awareness of the unique light that each of us is, and to see that light in the gifts in those around us, which then calls us to this bigger idea of community. Last week, we talked about the 6 pillars of brave space. How when we are choosing to be in a community of brave space, we welcome all and the willingness to sit in the discomfort, moving beyond our comfort zone of those who look, think, and feel just like us, but to sit in the discomfort in order to grow, in order to expand beyond our own understanding of life from our own perspective or our own lens. Community is that place where we can gather, share our light, and learn from one another. And as I was reflecting on this a bit more this week, I was noticing that, there is some nuance to this brave space as well. Because in order to have a brave space willing to share and be seen, it must first be a safe space, right? So we kind of talked about the evolution of moving from safe space to brave space, but we must first start by creating a safe space. So let us not assume that we are in a safe space. Let us co-create that safe space, which involves embodying healthy boundaries, respect for one another, and realizing that we have an impact on the space that we gather. We have an impact on our community. Coretta Scott King says, "The greatness of a community is most accurately measured by the compassionate actions of its members." The greatness of a community is most accurately measured by the compassionate action of its members. So it's less about what we say or think, but it's about what we actually do as a community, those compassionate actions. So today I want to explore a little deeper the idea of shining our light fully, this self-expression, this authentic self-expression within the context of a spiritual community that is a safe space and a brave space. So how do we express our individual needs and desires with others in our community while also being compassionate and honoring the needs and desires of others in our chosen community? And what is at the heart of this exploration is the idea of responsibility, right? We've heard, with freedom comes responsibility. So when we come together as a spiritual community, it is our responsibility how we show up and how we choose to gather. So with this idea of curiosity and wonder and kind of putting that on top of community, I invite us to ask, what is our responsibility to each other? We must strive to create an environment of acceptance and respect. And we know that each of our journeys is unique, and so too are our unique needs and desires. We all have something special to bring to this community. And our community can only be enriched by embracing those gifts and the diversity of all that we are. And it is our responsibility to ensure that our self-expression does not come at the expense of another, right? So that's the nuance. So it's like we play at all these different levels because we're not walking around in the world in an isolated bubble. We are one. There's a ripple effect that occurs with how we show up in the world. So it is our responsibility to ensure that who we are being in a moment, that we are being conscious and mindful. I desire our spiritual community here to be a place of mutual respect, yes, of honoring of all. So that involves being mindful of our words and our actions and how they might affect one another. And to be open to listen without judgment or opinion and learn from each other. We can strive to understand the perspective of others even though they are different from ours. And this requires some patience and humility, yes? It is also our responsibility to be honest and vulnerable with each other in order to willingly share and show and shine our light. So we do this work individually, but we do it on behalf of the collective because it is expressed through the collective level when we choose to gather together in community. The Science of Mind teaching seeks to recognize wholeness through all things. And as such, our aim is not to deny what is before us, but to seek to understand so that a greater idea can be revealed. Illusions of separation, of us and them, of other, of conflict and disagreement, they simply show us the way. They guide us towards areas that need attention. These conflicts and disagreements and so-called separation invite us into where we can explore and perhaps illuminate something that is seeking to be transformed or revealed in some way. They point us to where the healing needs are within our community. And in this way, a greater idea can be born as we as a collective spiral upwards towards the vision of the future that we desire. We get to midwife as a collective the birth of a new idea, of a bigger idea, something beyond who we are individually. As Margaret Wheatley says, there is no power for change greater than a community discovering what it cares about. There is no power greater. So what if we were to say yes to being that community that discovers what we care about in such a way that we can be that catalyst for change in the collective consciousness? It's easy to get caught up in our own individual worlds and experiences without realizing that we are but one instrument in the beautiful symphony of life, yes? So to live in harmony with all of life, we must be present and actively engaged with those around us in service to a greater idea. We gather together in service of something greater to be revealed. And at Ahava, we have identified that as several statements, and these should sound pretty familiar. So we gather together what that looks like. What do we say every week? Global transformation through personal evolution, right? So we start right here within our inner work, but we are up to something greater. We have this vision for global transformation. This something bigger as this idea of humanity awakening to its spiritual magnificence and to create a world that works for everyone. So these are some examples at Ahava of our bigger idea, right? Where love is always the answer. And as you know, or may not know, we are a Center for Spiritual Living, so we are but one community of a greater community. And the greater community of Centers for Spiritual Living has a global vision statement. So I want to share a couple of these statements for us just to reflect on individually of how much we want to say yes to this as our bigger idea. So the CSL Global Vision says, we envision a world where personal responsibility joins with social conscience in every area of the political, corporate, academic, and social sectors, providing sustainable structures to further the emerging global consciousness. So this isn't like we come together on a Sunday morning to do this work. This is calling us to bring this teaching, this idea of self-awareness, of awakening into all aspects of our world and society. And then the second point is we demonstrate the oneness of spirit in everything that we do, knowing that this oneness is inclusive of race, age, ethnicity, culture, history, religion, political affiliation, experience, gender, and sexual orientation. So it is a pretty big idea, yes? This world that works for everyone. And again, we may not see it in our lifetime, but that does not mean that there isn't value in striving towards that as our something bigger as a community. And then I started to kind of distill this down from this big idea. For me personally, sometimes it's almost easier to have a big idea or something bigger on a global level. But what if we then were to take it back down to our individual level or our family level and our smaller communities within community? What would it be like to consciously identify the something greater that we have within our personal relationships? Why do we choose to gather? Why do we choose to partner with, to live with, to commune with each other? What is the bigger something in that relationship? To learn, to grow, to share? Who knows? When we live intentionally, we get to decide how we show up in various spaces. And we are aware that our words and our energy and our actions affect those around us. And this doesn't mean that we walk around self-conscious, right? There's such a, again, fine line, nuance, distinction between being self-conscious and withholding our light based on what we are afraid of, what people may think of us, versus remembering to be mindful of how we share our light. You hear the difference? It's not based on, self-consciousness is, I'm gonna, maybe not say that thing or wear that thing or do that thing in this community because I don't know what they're going to feel like. Even though it's authentically me, I'm going to hold it back. But to be self-aware, we can bring the fullness of who we are to any space and be mindful of how we are showing up and when and where is appropriate to express and say and do certain things for the higher idea? Is me saying this thing moving the higher vision of our collective community forward, or is it all about me? And it doesn't have to be an either or is what I'm trying to say here, right? There's so many distinctions because it's so interlocked and we are so interconnected. So I'm, bringing up this idea of how can we be more curious? How can we engage wonder in how we gather as a spiritual community? Remembering our thoughts and deeds have a ripple effect, right? Our energy is a vibration that affects the collective whole. So we don't have to hide our light under a bushel. No. I wanted someone to say. So do we hide our light under a bushel? I'm going to let it shine. Right. We get to shine our authentic light with respect for how we are impacting the whole. Just like we teach our children. We gather together on a Sunday morning and we have our young children who, to them, authentically expressing their light is often a lot of energy and physical movement and loudness and jumping and expressing, which is all wonderful. We don't want to dim their light. And at the same time, we teach them they're in a space with others who may not see very well or hear very well or be as stable on their feet, who may be holding a cup of very hot coffee. So when we're in a community space, it would not be appropriate for the highest vision of all, our community being together as love, for our young ones to be running and playing tag amongst our fellowship time. So we create an alternative space and invite them to do that outside or some other activity, right? So I know this may seem like kind of a silly example, but we're just all grown children. I know for me, I like to be loud and sing. That's me. I like to move around. And as I've matured, it comes that idea of being mindful of how I am in an environment with others. And it's not hiding my light. It's just expressing it in an appropriate, compassionate, respectful way, because I have the bigger vision of why we gather as a space to love, to learn, to grow, a safe space and a brave space for the awakening of humanity. David Bohm says, "A society is a link of relationships among people and institutions so that we can live together. But it only works if we have a culture, which implies that we have shared meaning, i.e. significance, purpose, and value. Otherwise, it falls apart." So you kind of often hear about this idea of culture, maybe in like a work environment or a society. But we at Ahava, we get to choose. We kind of have what is our culture. It's those ways that those kind of unspoken agreements based on how we interact with one another. And it's also how we share meaning. And we gather together with the collective understanding of valuing peace and love and joy and freedom and compassion. So at Ahava, we've created a space for ritual, for meaning, for deep conversation and connection, for play, for self-expression, for cake, and for belonging. And it can all exist in the wholeness and the oneness of life as this thing called spiritual community. And when we are self-aware, to keep the high idea of why we gather in the forefront of our minds. So this week, I invite you to think about the ways that you engage in community. And specifically within the community of Ahava, and how that is a demonstration of your high idea or values being a place to be actualized. So maybe you're a part of the welcoming team or the media team or a youth volunteer on the core council. Maybe you are in taking classes or in a small group. Notice how we are all working collectively as this beautiful symphony, each with our own voices that come together to create a beautiful harmony. And think about in these ways that you engage in community, is it all about a one-on-one experience, or do you see a larger vision at play? And how might you elevate that experience to bring in new and diverse people and perspectives and approaches that would enrich the experience for all? This is how community is born and how community continues to evolve as we continue to evolve personally, to be self-aware, and to invite in others to bring in their perspectives and approaches to create something new. And this is the space and the container where belonging is truly experienced. So let us take this now into prayer. Taking that nice deep breath. Reflecting on the light and the love of the universal presence, that which some call God, Spirit, Buddha, Christ, consciousness. This one light, this one energy that is love, that is peace, that is joy, that is freedom. Knowing that this one life is the very essence and nature and truth of all life, I know and recognize that it is who I am. And as this is true for me, this must absolutely be true for each and every one of us, for there is only one life, one thing, one energy, one power, one presence moving in, as, and through all. So I take this moment to tune in, tap in, connect with this source, with this light, acknowledging the light within and the light around. The beauty of the light that is amplified as we gather, sharing our unique ways of being and seeing and expressing this thing called life. Knowing that Ahava is that safe and brave space, that container for spiritual growth, for personal evolution, for awakening to our spiritual magnificence. That we get to gather together knowing that truly we belong. We belong to Spirit, to ourselves, and to each other. We get to gather together to amplify the voice of love, of light, of joy, of peace, of freedom into this world. Knowing that there is something greater seeking to be expressed through each of us. And we each have a unique way of being based on our own talents, skills, upbringing, experiences that has brought us to this now moment where we can choose to consciously give and share of who we are in service to the greater expansion and evolution of the collective. We gather together, recognizing the wholeness and the oneness of life, honoring our light and honoring the light of those around us. So as we move into this season of light, I know that love is always there, that love is that guiding force as we gather. Love is revealed. Light is revealed. And the light so shines forth that anything unlike it dissolves back to the nothingness from which it came. For the love and light transcends all. We are whole. We are complete. We are light. And for this I give thanks. As I release this word into the action of the law that always says, yes, 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 my beloved, yes, it is done. It is so. And so it is.
In this moment, in this place, I remember who I am, letting fear and worry fall away from me. I open my eyes and see there is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets me free. There is only love. There is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets me free. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets me free. There is only love.
Before you sit down, I invite you to turn to someone and say, I see your light. Beautiful. So many lights in this room. I can have my microphone back on. Am I on? Yeah. There we go. Yeah, there we go. All right, so not only can you see my light, you can hear my light now again, right? All right. So if you are here for the first time, thank you for sharing your light in this space, and we want to welcome you here today, knowing that your presence here makes a difference. We have a gift for you. It tells you a little bit more about who we are, and all you have to do is raise your hand and let us know if you're here. So is anyone here for the first time? Welcome. We got a gift for our core council. We'll be giving you a little welcome gift. Thank you so much for being here. Special love. I just have to say, for those of you who don't know, please introduce this man, our guest, not only a guest.
Yes, this is my father, Philchin Queen Anne. He just relocated to Lexington, and in August he celebrated his 95th birthday. So
Yes. So, welcome home. So great to have you here, and just had to say that. Had to give him a little extra special welcome there. All right, so now we're going to turn to our time of conscious giving, where we are going to pass the basket in the room and offer the opportunity to express this give and flow, this giving and receiving. You can also give online. You can text the word give as well to 859-209-6996 or mail in your gifts to 168 Burt Road, Lexington, Kentucky, 40503. So as we gather our gifts, we do this as a community by affirming the truth. So I invite you to place your gifts over your heart or your hands over your heart and repeat after me. Divine love as me multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I joyously contribute to the vision of Ahava, knowing it returns to me, multiplied abundantly. And so it is.
Life is too far to walk alone. You can't do it on your own, like bare hands digging through stone. And if we go down much steeper hills, even money won't pay those bills. The time will show you, all the people gonna be okay. Storms never come to stay. Remind us how bad we need each other, how bad we need each other. And the trials of today, just signs along the way of how bad we need each other, how bad we need each other. Do 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 do. So high on myself sometimes, feel like I'm drifting a million miles from this planet. Oh, what a shame it would be to look back on this life and realize I've taken you and me for granted. Oh, people gonna be okay. Storms never come to stay. Remind us how bad we need each other, how bad we need each other. And the trials of today are just signs along the way of how bad we need each other, how bad we need each other. And I cannot see what's a mile around the bend. I don't know where this is headed or where it's gonna end. Oh, but you gave me my smile and I threw away my frown. Up what I just put down. Oh no. Do 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 do. Oh, people gonna be okay. Storms never come to stay. Remind us how bad we need each other, how bad we need each other. And the trials of today, just signs along the way of how bad we need each other, how bad we need each other. People gonna be okay. Storms never come to stay. How bad we need each other, how bad we need each other. And the, ooh, do 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 do.
For those of you who may have been like, wait, she forgot to tell us what's happening this week. That's because we're doing a little thing different and switching up the order of service a little bit. So the first time, there's likely to be those moments, right? Sorry, Lord. So, to let you know, we have some things coming up this week. This Thursday night is our candlelight service, Many Paths, One Light. When you walked in, you should have received a postcard. If not, they're by the doors. You can grab one. You should be getting them in the mail as well if we have your address. And I do want to point out on the back of the one you got today, it says Tuesday. It's Thursday. The date is right, but the day is wrong. So let's do this all again like I did the first time I announced it. When is our candlelight service? What date? Thursday. What day, rather? In what date? The 15th. Well, we'll check our calendars. I think it's the 15th. I heard everything from the 15th, 16th, 17th. Whatever this Thursday is, We're going to be here. And it's at 7 p.m. It's beautiful, beautiful, one of our favorite rituals. Invite friends to be here for that as well. Also, we are honoring and celebrating Reverend Soni's retirement. So next Sunday, December 18th, I do know that date, so we could work backwards from that. But next Sunday, December 18th, Reverend Soni will be giving her final talk here. And it will be a special service honoring her. We have some special videos and music and other fun things. So please plan to be here next Sunday for that and get your tickets for her dinner December 29th. You can get those in the bookstore right after service. Now, something new and exciting to share with you all. Reverend Soni thought that she was going to be retiring and enjoying sipping coffee and playing games and puzzles and reading. And then recently an opportunity came up for her to run for community spiritual leader of Centers for Spiritual Living. Yes, this is huge, y'all. So she has said yes to running, as many of our colleagues have encouraged her to do. Again, she did not retire with this in plan, but Spirit had a greater plan with the timing of it all, that's for sure. So I just want to let you all know it was announced this week. We have our annual CSL convention in February, and that is when all the communities will vote. And it is quite possible that Reverend Soni, for the next 3 years, will be the community spiritual living over all of Centers for Spiritual Living, all 300 to 400 plus communities around the world. So yes, big, big, big opportunity. And let you know how honored and special we are, right? That it's going to bring some really great love and attention to Ahava as well. So a couple other quick things is, reminder, there's no Sunday service on Christmas Day, December 25th, but we are having, opening the space at noon for a potluck and for games. So if you want to come gather with your spiritual family on Christmas Day, noon to 2, we will be here. I won't be here, but someone will be here. I'll be with my family in Michigan. What else? Our Burning Bowl service, January 1st. And make sure you check out our website for all upcoming events and support our holiday support project donations for the Kentucky Refugee Ministry. All right, now, do.
Your shining star, wonderful, just the way you are. We celebrate your sacred face. We love you just the way you are. We love you just the way you are. We do.
Hey, everybody. In following with the theme of light this month, we talked about what our... oh, don't pull my hair. We talked about what... we talked about what our special gifts and talents are. We shared about that with each other. And we also made some really cool ornaments that we get to take one home, but also made one for our youth fundraiser today. And Sage would like to share our youth affirmation.
Sharing my light makes the world a better place.
Yes. Sharing our light makes the world a better place, everybody. Thank you. We hope to see you at our fundraising table.
Let us stand as well. Oh, yeah. I know. We have so many young ones ready to be on this mic that one day it's going to happen. I know. I'm excited to hear what they have to say. All right, so please repeat after me. Something wonderful is happening to me right now. Something wonderful is happening to me right now. It's this thing called life. Life is in my mind.
Life is in my mind.
Life is in my body.
Life is in my body.
Life is in my affairs.
Life is in my affairs.
I accept it. I am it. I share it. Just the way it appears. And just the way it appears not. Thank you, life.
Thank you, life.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Let me live in a holy, holy way.
Oh, let me live in a holy, holy way.
Let me live in a holy, holy way.
Oh, let me live in a holy, holy way.
Let me live in a holy, holy way.
Oh, let me live in a holy, holy way.
Let me live in a holy, holy way.
Oh, let me live in a holy, holy way.
Let me love 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 in a holy, holy way.
Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way.
Let me love in a holy, holy way.
Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way.
I want to thank everyone for coming out today and also for watching online. Don't forget Thursday, December 15th. That's when we'll all be here. How about you? Okay, and next Sunday, Sonny's party, there will be cake. Let me live in a holy, holy way.
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 Let me love in a holy, holy way.
Let me love in a holy, holy way.
Let me love in a holy, holy way.
Let me